Creating conversation.
Creating conversation. We're here at ATC in Tacoma, Washington, with the brilliant minds behind the store that we have here in Tacoma. Want you to introduce yourself?
My name is Ferris Wright, and I am one half of ETC Tacoma.
My name is Louis Wagner, and I am the other half of ETC Tacoma and Etcetera.
First off, before we get into any of the interview, I want to thank you guys for allowing us to have our first season of Creating Conversation held in the store. I really appreciate how these guys just came to them and asked them, reached out to them, and they really were behind the movement. So appreciate you guys for that.
Of course, yeah, no problem.
I kind of want to get into the beginning, the very, very beginning. How did you know, when did you know that you wanted to get into clothing?
You could say it stemmed all the way back to like middle school, knowing that you wanted to be different than everybody else, you know, as far as like what you wore every day. You know, we were in uniforms, but you try to tweak stuff here and there to make sure you can kind of express your individuality in some way, you know? But as far as the beginning, I met Umi through a program at University of Puget Sound. It was called Academic Challenge, so it was the summer of our 8th grade year before we went into ninth.
Okay.
You know, it was kids from all around Tacoma who wanted to, I guess, get like a few steps ahead before they hopped into high school. So I ran into Umi. We became like partners, you would say, in a few different projects that we had there. Yeah. And then the relationship kind of just blossomed from there. There was no brand, you know, when we were in like 9th grade. The brand didn't really start until we were what, juniors? Yeah, like juniors in high school, but we were, you know, we stayed friends throughout that whole time, and we kind of knew that there was something different about us than everybody else, you know, just as far as the way we dressed, the things we were into. We both loved shopping at the same stores. Shout out Goods up in Seattle, RIP. You know, but that's kind of what drew us together. Just like our common interest in like education and wanting to be successful.
Yeah. How was that in the process of junior year when you come out with the brand?
I was working on designing like this print that was like super similar to what is now like the Huffquake print, but it was like it was supposed to be like etchy, like leaves, the edge of leaves. And I was like, I was doing it all the time. Like I would like just draw a basic t-shirt and then just try to do the print over and over and over again. Yeah. And P, like obviously he was like my style buddy at the school or whatever, and we were obviously just good friends. This is our junior year now, so our friendship is cemented, obviously. And he's like looking over my shoulder and we're talking, and he's like, oh, saying that he could draw. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, you could draw? He's like, yeah, for sure. So he starts like drawing just a blank of the t-shirt, like a croquis, and it's like looking way more like a t-shirt than any of my t-shirts have ever looked. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making like, wow, like, there's like shape, you know, there's like a shoulder, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, like this dude can really like do his thing. And so like from there, P and I just kind of like started tossing back and forth ideas. But at the time, P was really more so an artist to me as a writer. He was rapping at the time. Clem Rashad and what was Young Dynasty at the time. So like that was what I knew him for. But shortly after that, somewhere in that junior year, we had like a conversation one time when I was basically telling him like that he was tight at doing what he was doing. And he was like, if I had the choice between having a good like a super tight clothing brand or being a rapper, like I would pick having a super tight clothing brand. Yeah. And that's when it kind of stuck in my mind, like, oh yeah, like okay, this is someone that takes it as seriously as I take it. You know? And from there, like that was really where we started to like develop ideas together, and like he would like have, you know, then he's running with his drawings too, so then we're like bringing the ideas to each other, and that's when we come up with the first name for the first brand, which is Verso. We're both Aquarius. That was something that we had in common. Verso, means Verso or Verso, however you want to pronounce it, means Aquarius in French. You know, like that's really where it all stemmed from. And then we got into like heavy into mythology. So like our first t-shirts were full embroidery by Paris, who's hand tracing like these like crazy graphics that we have found of like an ancient water bearer pouring water. So it's all in gold stitching, and we're doing it all like in the house next door to Paris's house. Shout out Mr. Barrows.
South End.
And yeah, he's letting us do it because he's just intrigued by the fact that we're so into it. And there's like P is just in there for hours, like meticulously just like drawing this thing while I'm like finding images and that sort of thing. And that was really how it started. And we were just wearing the tees ourselves. And then we were like, got in more into it, like, how do we turn this into a business? And that's when we were like, oh, screen printing. Like, that's how most t-shirt companies go about it.
Yeah.
And how we can, like, change colors because we were only being able to use one color and that sort of thing. So it was like, and then, like, rip the backing out of the embroidery of the shirt so it's not like a vest on you. It was crazy.
With the 22nd pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Desmond Trufant, defensive back, Washington.
First annual Desmond Trufant camp here in Tacoma, free camp. Man, talk about what inspired you to make this camp and to even make it for free.
Well, you know, I just been thinking about what I could give back to the community, you know, and I know, you know, what got me to the next level was, or one of the things was how competitive I was.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the competition, that burning desire, you know, to be the best.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's really what I wanted to bring to the kids, you know. I want y'all to compete, have fun, but, you know, try to be the best, you know. Try to be the best you can be. Take your game to the next level. And, you know, I made it free because, you know, it's not about the money when it comes to that. You know, I'm gonna make money, you know, with what I do, you know, with how I play and, you know, my businesses, etc. You know, so this is just about just giving back.
You know, when we was coming up, we didn't really have no competitive camp. Now we got guys coming out here wanting to compete.
They're learning a lot from guys that done it in college, NFL-wise too. They're learning a lot of technique, you know, things that we've learned. We want to pass it on to them and, you know, make sure they iterate that in their game, in their everyday life, and then, you know, be better at what they do.
To have them people to look up to guide you on the right path, to actually see somebody who did it correctly, it's a big thing. So it's just good for the city. Tacoma football's on the rise, man.
What I can take from it is just a lot of like new skills picked up. There's a lot of great players out here that we're going against, so we're just getting better every play.
I've been watching. I think they're picking up a lot, actually.
Yeah.
You know, the high school coaches, they can only teach you so much. They don't have the time. But they're picking up a lot, I think.
These kids, they want it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They want it because they heard about it and they came from other places and they want it. And so when there's this type of stuff, when they have these type of opportunities to go out and get it, you know, that's the most important thing.
You can just tell by the kids, their reactions, how excited they are. They're out here dancing, having a good time competing. Shoot, the cat that won defensive MVP, he ain't even a freshman yet in high school. Like, that's
crazy
right there. Yeah,
crazy.
Exactly. So,
everyone knows we got the talent over here, but we don't really got the opportunities like, you know, a Cali school or, you know, those top schools.
Yeah.
So big thing was just getting everybody the experience in the camp and just the exposure that Tacoma should get.
So education, gaining knowledge. I know that you guys are both huge on education, gaining knowledge. You guys can continue your education on the college. In that, you guys were separated, correct?
Definitely.
Correct? Okay. So how did that affect what you guys had moving forward in the transition into the Etcetera brand?
I would say it kind of slowed things down a bit. He was all the way in California, I was all the way up here. So we were used to seeing each other on a daily basis. Like right after school in high school, we would like shoot over to his crib and we would like sit down and just design t-shirts.
Okay.
You know, figure out like new colorways we were gonna come out with, all of that good stuff. So then when we went to college, you know, that's like a new experience for the both of us. So we're both trying to get acclimated to that. Still try to keep our brand going, and you know, still trying to push out quality stuff that we assume people would buy. But yeah, that it really slowed things down, because I want to say there might have been like 4 or 5 month periods where we just like nothing happened with the brand. We would talk about it here and there, you know, because we still talked often. But he was trying to, you know, he was in college trying to make sure he got through. I was in college trying to make sure I got through, and we kind of, you know, we kind of had other priorities, and that was put on the back burner, you know. But then when we would come together and be like, okay, let's release this, we came out with some cool pieces, you know. But it took a lot longer than it did when we were in high school.
Talk about the name, Etcetera. When did it switch over, and what is Etcetera?
Etcetera came from ETC. So ETC is like the base of everything. And that was based off of us wanting to have a t-shirt boutique in Tacoma. So it's gonna be like all t-shirts is the original idea. The original idea is like graphic t-shirts by us. Oh, we'll get like a couple of Stussy t-shirts, a couple of Fresh Dye t-shirts, brands that we like have like shown us the way of how to make t-shirts. And then Pro Club, Hanes, like we're talking about like every blank t-shirt, you think of Kirkland, like all that, you know, just plain t-shirts, black, white, and gray. And that's what we wanted to be, and then throw in like accessories here and there, and that's where like the T in ETC is like why it's so prominent for us, and then obviously Tacoma, you know? So like it was all in like a simile or metaphor for what we were really wanting to create, and then it became Etcetera when we started thinking about expanding it, like and what it really meant to us, like to have a store, to have a brand, like you're not making the necessity. You're making the extra stuff, stuff that people want, stuff that people are like going to look for, you know, like things that people covet, so to speak, you know what I mean? So that was like really what it was about, and that's what the culture was about for us, you know, like we were making the trip 45 minutes out to come back and walk around on the 4th of July with shoes on that no one else like ever dreamed of. Get on seamless patent leather forces. Like, that was what it was about for us. And we made matching t-shirts like that corresponded. And denim. Like that was what it was about for us, you know? So that's what like the store idea was about.
I really feel like ETC Tacoma provides Tacoma with a culture. It's not, maybe not the first boutique in Tacoma ever, but you think of Tacoma boutiques and you think of ETC Tacoma, you think of the events and stuff that you guys host here that separates yourself from different boutiques. And you guys look like me, you guys are black, you know what I'm saying? That's a huge thing to look at and see from a younger perspective, even from an older perspective. Somebody just came in here that was older than us and just shouted out and said, hey, I'm glad I came in here and seen what you guys have. Like stuff like that is big to me. So talk about what you guys envisioned ETC Tacoma, how you guys saw the store coming about, like from the t-shirt idea to what it's become now.
Well, it's always been thought of as like a hub, you know? For anybody, you know, from a young kid who just wants to come in and grab a t-shirt or come in and play Mario Kart one day, you know, to like a 30-year-old who wants to come in and, you know, do the same exact thing or kind of talk to us about what we're doing, catch some knowledge about, you know, they might have an idea or they might have a t-shirt brand that they want to run with, and they they want some ideas or they want some insight on what we did to kind of get where we were at. So being able to provide people with not only clothing that they can get here, and not at the mall, but also being able to provide a platform for some of these artists and creatives to come and showcase what they're able to do was always like the plan that we had. And Umi is the one who really like set that in motion. You know, he's the one who gets out there and talks to a lot of those people who wanna kind of push their agenda. So him being down in California, that's the lifestyle down there. You know, that's not something that people are used to up here. So us giving that to Tacoma is different, but people enjoy it at the same time. You know, so they kind of people gravitate towards ETC in that way, and even if they don't come in and buy a t-shirt, they might show up on open mic night, you know? And that's just as important to us. You know, we don't need you to buy a t-shirt to be a part of ETC or Club 907, you know what I'm saying? So so it's basically like a hub, man, and the goal is just to keep going up from here.
This is Creating Conversation. I'm Isaiah. This is Candice, Dazjon, Jasmine, and Evan. And what we have here today is a relationship segment. And the topic we're going to be tackling today is the gray area, or talking. What do you think talking is, Candice?
I consider talking is like whenever you are first attracted to someone or, you know, interested in them. So you guys got a little pre-arrangement set up to get to know each other for a little bit. It's kind of the talking phase.
I think talking, the gray area is, you know, the background check. That's where you gotta get all your information, you know, see what you like about the person, see what you don't like, you know. Some people is crazy nowadays. So you gotta take it how it's given. So you do all your research, you know. Big Sean said it best.
How you identify it is right before or a little after that first kiss.
Okay.
That's when you kind of.
So is that the gray area? Or is that talking?
It's the same thing.
After the first kiss, you done went in the.
But I think talking in the gray area is different though.
Right.
So whenever you first, you know what I'm saying? Like when you first start talking to someone, you're like, okay, you know, I mess with them. And then you get to this point where it's like, hey, I'm feeling kind of serious, but I don't know if they're feeling serious. That's where the gray area comes in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then you're like, hey, is this going to go further? Or is this like just.
I feel like that talking, like it's all the gray area. It's all lumped into one, because I feel like when you are talking, I mean, there's that mutual thing where you guys know you guys are exclusive. You really man. Sometimes, exactly. That's why it's still gray.
If you just be honest and be like, look, this is what it is, because you know, just like our sex life and relationship status, everybody's different. You know, in different areas. Like some people could just start, you know, been dating for a minute. Some people can just be starting. So I feel like if you establish like, look, this is what it is. Right. I don't know about you. We can eliminate the gray area.
The question is, can you handle the truth?
Hey.
See, but here's the other thing,
Huh. Wow.
Right, okay, but
who?
No. That's a good question. That's a good question. Can you talk, or can you be in the gray area with more than one person?
Yes, that's what dating is.
Right.
Okay. So
gray area for me is like, okay, so say if I'm talking to someone and I'm also talking to, you know, someone else, but the person they don't know, so that's where the gray area, they're like, dang, is she?
So do you, like from a moral standpoint, should you tell each person that you're in the gray area with, or that you're talking to, that they're in that?
Then they'd be like, oh, I'm cool. You can't tell a girl that. They'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just talking, like, they want to be like the only one you're talking to.
Let's talk about the alley-oop, man, since you brought it up. Like, I like the alley-oop. The alley-oop's cool. I'm a good wingman. I feel like I pride myself in being a good wingman and all of that. But I feel like it could be in a negative light as well too. I mean, not just from an alley-oop standpoint, but what you hear about another person, that, like someone that you're invested in or you are interested in, and then do you let that affect how you feel about that person, even though your interaction with them hasn't been like that?
And I feel like that happens all the time.
Right. All the time.
All the time that happens.
If you base it off what
other
you hear,
people say,
then you ain't
know?
never gonna be talking to nobody. It's like I heard
Yeah.
from 07.
Do online dating.
Yeah. How does social media play into it? Are y'all? Do you I feel like rule number one, you ain't posting every single picture with that person and blasting it.
Probably liking it. You gotta be discreet. Social media.
I was gonna say I don't really put anything on my social media, so for someone to be in the gray area, you're probably definitely not gonna be on my.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. My rule number one is if we're in the gray area, you ain't gonna be on my gram, not on my account.
You ain't met my mom.
You know what I'm saying?
Like it's branding. So do you want to be branded as that?
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I'm branded as the family man. So you see all the cousins, all
the cousins,
all the family. With social media, which is hella cool to figure out sometimes. So I mean, this doesn't happen to me, but someone will post a picture. You know what I'm saying? Of like, oh, this is Man Crush Monday, and then someone else will hop on and be like, oh, but he's talking to my friend, like, you know, and then you get that text with a screenshot of an Instagram picture, like, hey, but you know that he talks to my homegirl?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a
that's a girl thing.
Right? No, it definitely is a girl thing for sure.
I'm all about connections. I feel like literally connections is where we at, especially in people like ourselves doing things with like-minded individuals coming together. Let's talk about some of the connections that you were able to make in Cali that helped you get started out here in Tacoma.
The last month and a half of school, shout out Miss Jeffries. She brings me into the room and she kind of starts throwing fitment at me. And I was talking about going to New York to Parsons. And they had accepted me in and stuff like that, but New York is so expensive. And yeah, she's like, no, it's FITM. It's in LA. It's right down there. You can go to campus all up and down the West Coast, like Orange County, whatever. So I'm like, all right, my mom is from California, and that's where I spent pretty much all my summers. Let's try it out. And I went for the name. Lauren Conrad was going to the school.
Bro, I remember that.
Filming there all the time and on campus and stuff. So it was just all this attention on it.
Yeah, on MTV, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's getting boosted up because I was thinking damn, I'm about to end up going to this old some third tier design school or whatever. But at the time, no, I got to understand that it was one of this. It was right under FIT at the time when I was going there. So because of that, I'm able to work at Saks Fifth Avenue. Because of that, I'm able to work in the Beverly Center, and then that's where I meet Ben and Bobby. I'm there's just one store in the Beverly Center. It was called Up Against the Wall. They're not around anymore on the West Coast, but I get godfathered in off of networking. So like you're saying, it's all networking. The guy that ends up opening the first diamond store is the big homie Tony. He puts me on because of the other big homie, Carter, who was Clem Rashad's big homie at the time, and our big homie from Goods. And so I'm in there, and he works on the block that the Hundreds is going to open up on, but I don't know that yet. So I'm just his homie or whatever, and he's put me on there. Ben and Bob meet me. I'm getting in a conversation with them. I was like, oh, you guys are wearing the Hundreds denim. That's really tight. I think that brand's from the Bay. So Ben starts laughing. He taps Bobby. He's like, yo, this kid says the Hundreds is super tight. And he was like, where'd you say they're from? And I was like, oh, I think they're from the. I'm it's weird now. So I'm I think they're from the Bay. And he was like, nah, it's us. And so I was like, damn, that's crazy. It's super nice to meet you guys. And they're like, damn, how long have you been working here? They're just trying to figure out information about me. They're getting ready to open, the reason why they're asking me, they're getting ready to open the store. They've got all these homies that want to work in the store, but none of their homies have retail experience. So I go back to Saks Fifth Avenue for the paper, obviously, and the discount. And then
shout out to the discount.
then something goes weird there where I end up coming back Up Against the Wall, and Ben meets me in the shop one day again, and he's like, dude, I've been looking for you. It's crazy. Are you still looking for a job? And I was like, yeah. He was like, good. I need someone to run my store. And I'm like, serious? And he was like, yeah, man. We just opened up. We've been open for a little bit now, and it was on my birthday is the day that I started, February 9th. And it was their second year anniversary. Yeah, second year anniversary, or 1 year anniversary, pardon me.
Okay.
Crazy. So then that's the day that I started.
Okay.
It's at their 1 year. And it's been connections there ever since, obviously Ben is my big brother, and has taught me so much about business, so much about being able to mingle with people and build business to business relationships where you're able to do collaborations and all that kind of thing, and going for the gusto even when there is no gusto to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're playing in, you know, uncharted territories, and yeah, so that's how we worked it out. The networking, as far as the brands go, we all came up at the exact same time. That's just how it happened to be. I moved there right when everyone is in their senior year of high school, so they're all coming to the block in their spare time. They all spent their senior summer on the block, and then we just all become family. Anwar, you know, the kids from OF that I mess with, which is really just Taco, and Mike G, and like, you know, that's how we meet everybody.
That's
and
crazy.
I meet like all the other, you know, people that I met along the way that have been famous and like lended a helping hand and that sort of thing. And you know, Dom is right there. That's where he's writing his first raps. So, or not his first raps, but he's writing his new raps where he's becoming Dom Kennedy. So I get to see that whole thing and like be a part of that. And yeah, like the whole time it's like on the phone telling Pete like, dog.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
You know, and Pete's like, yeah, for sure, you know, and always keeping his business mind to be like, yo, like we should get back into the brand. And that's where all the networking comes from.
You brought up Dom. Let's talk about the 1 year anniversary, which was in July.
Yeah. July 18th was the party, 19th is the actual anniversary.
Okay, let's talk about that. How'd that go?
It was good, man. It was a shit show for sure. I didn't anticipate that many people showing up. You know, we had talked about it before, because it was basically just like us saying, yeah, Dom Kennedy's gonna be here. But like, if you know like the history of Tacoma, any like artist coming out here, that's kind of shaky.
Mythical.
Yeah, you know. So us just saying it, there were a lot of people. We got like, I want to say like 50 phone calls of people saying, is Dom Kennedy really coming down there? Is that just, you know, is it like a hoax or something like that? And it's like, why the fuck would it be a hoax? Why would we even say that if he's not going to be here? So, and then like the day before, he like tweeted it, you know?
Yeah,
and then
remember that.
That's when it was like, we're like, damn, it might be like really nuts tomorrow, you know? So, I want to say probably by like 12 o'clock, there might have been maybe like 150 people in line.
Sure.
We had Grayson, shout out G, running the door for us, and he was clocking people as they were coming in. I think it like totaled out at maybe like 350, and then he said there were still like 40 people who didn't get to pop in. You know, say what's up to him. But yeah, man, it was a good ass event. I think it brought a lot of awareness to the shop. As far as people who didn't know about the shop or had heard about it, but now that Dom came down here, I guess it gives us some form of like validation.
Validity, yeah.
So, yeah, man, I would say overall it was a really good event, man, and shit, we're trying to top it next year.
What do you guys have in the works as far as right now?
For us, it's all about like I feel like really it's still all about getting Tacoma on board, you know? Like I want a unanimous, and like maybe we're going far-fetched, but I want a unanimous Tacoma like vote, like yes, we rocking with ETC, you know? Like I got a piece, my brother got a piece, his little brother got a piece, my grandma got some socks. That's where I wanted to be at, because you know, like any place like Tacoma that will start to support itself will see that it's just drags people here, you feel me? And then people that are from here, they're gonna feel like, oh, there are new people here, but those new people are here to like take from and take away from, you know, like the culture and move it forward, you know, so that like Tacoma spreads itself. And so for us, I think that a big part of that is collaborating with other businesses in Tacoma, finding like the next ETCs in Tacoma, the young brands that are like bubbling, you know. Shout out to Six and Anderson, shout out to Earthling, like young companies that do it right, that have a real vision for it. Finding those and like helping them nurture themselves and staying first, and then increasing the events and that sort of thing. Like you said, finding spaces that make more sense for the amount of people that come out to these events now, and and really just getting involved in the city a little bit more.
This is the wrap up. This is Creating Conversation. We're here at ETC Tacoma. I want to know the exact location of where we're at right now.
You're at Club 907 Pacific Avenue.
It's a wrap for what we got going on. I want to thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
For having us.
Yes, sir. You the record holder for Wazoo 3-pointers made in a career. Tacoma. Over some people that are, yeah,